Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our webinar. This is the first of 4 webinars that we'll be conducting to help you create pathways and create awareness about incredible careers with Shambaugh&Sons as a union sprinkler fitter. So let's go ahead and kick this off. I think we've got everybody in from the lobby, and I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And we're going to go ahead and start this off. So my name is Tim Coleman. I'm a national recruiter with Shambaugh&Sons. We're a national design and build union contractor. And over the course of the series of 4 webinars, we're going to give you a background about Shambaugh&Sons and also Local 669, the Sprinkler Fitter Union. In our second part, we're going to give you a little background on where unions came from, why they're important today, and I'm going to get into Apprenticeship 101. So to really unlock the doors, what is an apprenticeship program? How do they work? How are they different in different types of trades? And then in part 3, we're going to come back and we're going to talk about what we offer you. And this is really the game changer. So what's in it for me? And really the theme is going to be you don't fail into construction. And stick around for part 3 because you're going to see really what a living wage is and what we offer for a full-time career that will change your student's life and change your life. And number 4, we're going to talk about the interview process, what the requirements are, and how do you get in? That's really one of the most important questions. So let's go ahead and start off a little background about Shambaugh&Sons and Local 669, the sprinkler fitters. To start off, Shambaugh, we are an MCOR company. MCOR Group is a Fortune 500 company boasting in 2022 annual sales of over $11 billion. And MCOR is a provider of critical infrastructure systems. MCOR owns 80 companies and 170 locations across America and has 33,000 employees. And we are the 800-pound gorilla, what we feel with MCOR. We're delivering and continue to perform in the fire protection industry. And Shambaugh&Sons has been around since 1926. We're in 31 cities, we're in 15 states, and we have over 3,000 employees. And we do work across the country in all 50 states. The way that we're organized in the field, and I'll get into our branch locations and our engineering locations, but in the field, we break the country into regions, and each region is led by a superintendent. And these individuals, they work their way up through the ranks. They went through the program, they went through the apprenticeship program, they journeyed out, became a journey person, and then they moved up into a foreman, general foreman, a master foreman, and in most cases now are superintendents. In every single job in their region, they're responsible for. So they're responsible for the field operations, the installation of our specialized piping system. So you can see how we're split up around the country. A little bit of background here. We, as I mentioned, we were established in 1926. We're licensed in 50 states, and we have operating locations in a number of states. And in those operating locations, you have branches where you have a sales team, you have an estimating team, you have in some of them engineering teams. Some of those locations are fabrication shops. Some of those are transportation. Some of those are distribution centers. So out of that 3,175 experienced Shambaugh team members, 580 are in the office, 295 are engineers or designers, and over 2,300 and growing are field and shop union members. We have a number of systems that we install: fire sprinkler systems, special hazard suppression systems, sprinkler system corrosion control systems, fire detection and fire alarm, which is a growing business for us. And as I mentioned, we've got prefab in-house facilities around the country, and we also inspect. So not only do we install, we are designing these systems, we install them on the job site, and then we test, inspect, and repair these systems. And there are so many different types of fire sprinkler systems. It's not just that water system that comes out of that routine sprinkler head. And if you look at the bottom right, as you're looking at the screen, that's one of 2,000 different types of sprinkler heads. One of 2,000 different types. And then we're looking at the piping system. This is a pump room. So I want you to just kind of key in on the size of the pipe. right? So it's not just that sprinkler head that just screws into the ceiling. It is an integrated, automated piping system. And there's many different types. So everybody has a cell phone, right? And then you recognize on your left, that's a data server installation. So that's a data server center. So imagine with your cell phone, and everyone has one, that you dropped your cell phone in the toilet, right? And maybe you have, maybe you haven't. I have. And we know what happens when you drop your phone in a pool or a lake or a river. It doesn't work properly. So we protect assets, right? We don't destroy assets, and we protect people, right? We save lives. In the case of these data server centers and other applications, we're using different types of gas systems. So imagine if we used water to suppress a fire in a computer room. It's just like dropping your phone in the toilet. You are going to destroy that asset, and we don't want to do that. The photo on the right is a petrochemical facility outside of Pittsburgh where we refine natural gas, and it's shipped overseas. So remember back in middle school when the fire department came to your school, right? And they gave a class on fire extinguishers, and they talked about the different types, right? And if you recall, right, they talked about a kitchen fire, which is oil and grease, right, in that kitchen. Imagine if you used a water fire extinguisher to extinguish or to suppress a kitchen fire. It's going to make it worse, right? The oil and grease is going to spread out. So in a case like that kitchen fire, you're using a different type of fire extinguisher, a foam fire extinguisher. In the case of jet fuel, petrochemical fuel, and oh, by the way, lithium battery production facilities or recycling facilities, right? Where lithium, if you put water on it, it's going to continue to burn. We're using very sophisticated systems, right? So there's a total of about 45 different types of systems, right? So back to integrated piping system, right? Look at the size of this pipe. Right? This is an integrated piping system, and you can just see this is one of many in this particular facility, right? Connected pipe. Look at the size of those fittings. We are specialized pipe fitters. Sprinkler fitters save lives because we're there before the first responders get there. We're called the iron firefighters, right? This is a life safety system, right? There's no new construction today that doesn't have the requirement for sprinkler systems. Here's another example of a pump room. And speaking of pump rooms, here's one of 225 separate systems that we put in Sparks, Nevada at the Tesla Gigafactory. Now that facility nearly doubled the world's current combined rate of battery production. That was a couple years ago. We're building facilities all over the country today. This is one of the first ones, the giant ones that were built in the United States. That was a 5.8 million square foot facility. We put in 96,000 sprinkler heads and installed approximately 25 miles of piping. Right? So we're doing large commercial construction. We're doing mega projects. And these are projects that don't happen overnight. They don't happen a month from now, right? These are projects that some of them take 10 years, some of them take 15 years, right? These are mega projects, and we're doing a ton of them today thanks to the chip bill and the infrastructure bill, right, where we're bringing manufacturing and advanced manufacturing back to the United States so we can compete not only on the national security level with semiconductor microchips, but also we can compete economically as the world is changing. So let's go ahead and take a look at a burn trailer. So let me set the scene here for you. This is a burn trailer put on the National Fire Safety Association, and we have two compartments, one on the left that has fire sprinklers and one on the right that does not. And we have that general sprinkler head that has mercury in it, and there's going to be a fire in the left compartment. There's going to be heat. Heat's going to cause a chemical reaction with the mercury. The mercury is going to expand, the glass will break, and you're going to hear a pop. Once there's a pop, the sprinkler system will come on, and the only people that can shut it off is the fire department. And unfortunately, on the right, there is no sprinkler system, and we're going to see what happens there. Okay, the fire started. Hear that pop? So the valve's opened up. So by law, the only people that can shut that valve off is the fire department. Right, so on the right we have a fire. There's no sprinkler system, so it's going to continue to burn and burn and burn until the fire department shows up. Typically it takes 15 to 18 minutes for a fire department to show up. The next video, we're going to watch a specialized system, and this is out at NASA, where we're going to test one of our very sophisticated systems.
It has to get up to 3 feet of the hangar within 4 minutes.
60 seconds to get to the wing of the aircraft. And just think about how volatile a lithium battery aging process is, right? So we're there working with our customers to ensure that there's safety in those manufacturing facilities. We're the only life safety system that when it's been installed correctly, we've never had a fatality. Okay, in addition, I mentioned we're going to go back and test our systems by law. So we're a trade that's always working, right? We're not one and done. We have to go back.
I thought the fire pump was great.
Okay, so just to kind of review, I want you to just really just key in, and I know it may be hard to see, but these are the size and scope of the projects that Shambaugh has performed on through the years and currently is performing on. Right, in Micron. Micron's an Idaho-based company that makes microchips and they make memory system chips. So if you're from Syracuse, New York, and up in their area there is a $100 billion Micron build that is projected to be built over the next couple years. We've already done Micron. So here's Micron in Manassas, Virginia, an 800,000 square foot facility. Texas Instruments in Texas, 1.5 million. Semiconductor plant. Motorola Semiconductor in Austin, Texas, 4 buildings. You look at the different data center and alarm centers, LG Manufacturing, Amazon Web Services. We've done a ton of Amazon facilities, Microsoft, Micron Semiconductor plant. You look at the amount of data centers we've done over the last 10 years. This list goes on. This is broken down by state. Right, so we are the industry leader in the installation, testing of fire suppression systems. Now let's look at some of the advanced manufacturing. In addition to Micron that we talked about, LG Chemical in Holland, Michigan, that total project is $303 million, 7,500 sprinkler heads. Lucid in Casa Grande, Arizona. Lucid is a manufacturer of electric vehicles. $8,000 sprinkler heads. I mentioned Tesla in Sparks, Nevada, a 5-year project, $2.5 billion project, over 225 total fire protection systems. And the manpower, just to give you an example, the workforce, we had between 4 and 78 sprinkler fitter, journey level workers, and apprentices on that job throughout that time period that we were there. Volkswagen, Mercedes-Benz. So these are big projects. You can see the square footage of these facilities. Now think about a body shop or a paint shop, right? How important it is to have fire protection, or how important it is when you have people or automation that is working in these facilities to protect people and to protect assets. General Motors in Arlington, Texas, 1 million square foot facility. Volvo in Ridgeville, South Carolina, Project duration 22 months. So these are long-term projects. 61,000 sprinkler heads, 32,000 process sprinkler heads. Samsung in Taylor, Texas. One of the largest construction projects going on right now in the great state of Texas. Multiple stories. You know, they're fab buildings, they're office buildings, they're CUB buildings. Taiwanese Semiconductor. $112 billion total project. Fire protection alone is $110 million. So currently we have close to $2 billion in backlog, meaning work that we haven't even started yet. This is one of the largest construction projects in the world right now. There's about 18,000 construction workers that have worked on this at this site. And we're one of the most important subcontractors or specialty trades, because we're there to protect people and to protect the assets. Bank of America in Plano and Richmond, Virginia. QTS, these are data centers. You know, so it goes on and on and on. We work nationwide. So let's talk about Local 669. That's our union, right? Shambaugh's been around since 1926. Local 669, America's Fire Protection Union, has been around since 1915. And we have close to 16,000 women and men in our union. And we have jurisdiction in 48 states. We have 52 training instructors that train in 40 locations. And I'll get into in another webinar about our apprenticeship program, which is a combination of on-the-job training, where you're trained on the job site. You're trained by, in our case, you're trained by the Shambaugh team. You're trained by that foreman, that journey level worker. But we also back it up with technical instruction. And the technical instruction is either done online through an online learning management system, or it's also done in conjunction at a training center. And again, we have 40 training centers across the country. Now, Local 669 is part of a bigger organization, right? And I think it's important to understand that is that in the piping industry, Local 669 is not going on doing it on our own. We're part of an international. Now, international, I want you to think about different schools in a school district. They're part of that school district, and the school district is the bigger organization. Or if you are an American School Counselor, you have your state organization, you're part of a national ASCA, right? So that's your bigger organization. The United Association is our national organization, and that stands for the United Association of Journey Level and Apprentice Welders, Plumbers, Pipe Fitters, Steam Fitters, HVAC refrigeration techs, and sprinkler fitters, commonly called the UA. The UA has been around since the 1800s, you know, since 1859. We have 359,000 members in 300 locations across the country, and there are 225 separate UA locals. Typically, a local is jurisdiction in a small area. Local 669 is a little different, because we're in 48 states. We're all across the country. And we happen to be the largest local in the United Association out of 225 UA locals, right? So that's a big feat, because there's some really large cities that are out there, and we've got strength, right? And I think that's important, because size is important, because size gives us leverage. Size gives us the ability to compete. Size gives us the ability, and your students, right? And if you're looking at this, you have the ability to transition very quickly from one project to another, because we're doing everything, right? Okay, so that concludes part one, a little history, a little background on Shambaugh&Sons. I look forward to getting back with you to get into part two and talk a little bit about union legacy and unlocking the doors to apprenticeship. So thanks for joining us, and we'll see you soon.